Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes. And I basically figured everybody's headed up the yin-yang with holidays, so I wasn't even bothering looking me up this week.
Hey, I like that thumbnail. Did Jyuni do that one too?
Yeah, Jenny did that too. Actually, Jenny did that one as a joke, but I thought it was cute, so I was going to use it anyway.
I recognized it instantly. It's brilliant.
Or not Jyuni. I'm sorry, not Jenny, Jyuni.
Jyuni, yeah. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah. Greg Hartwick just pointed out that right now it is 46 degrees in not so sunny Southern California, and it's raining. Back to you, Purple.
It never rains in Southern California. What's going on here?
I love all versions of that song. All versions. We're getting our this is our winter coat. It's been raining off and on for about a week now. Our temperatures are dipping down in the 40s. But I live on the outskirts, so I expect it to be warm during the day and cold at night.
What do you consider a winter coat there? A flannel shirt? A Christmas sweater?
I'm wearing leather and denim because I walked out here and I was like, oof, it is too early. It is early.
Here in Pittsburgh, we're getting the December rains. It always rains in December here. So I don't know what it's going to do January, February. As warm as it's been, I'm afraid to see what it's going to do. You know, because I'm almost expecting it to turn 50 below.
You know, I know we got snow overnight. I haven't really checked how much. And right now it is 3 below outside.
See, I won't whine.
She wonders why I don't like coming to Minnesota.
You know, you guys you're gonna point and laugh, and you should. But the Californian in me wants it to snow because it never snows here. It's snowing in the mountains by my house, but like I said, Isaiah and I just got over having fevers, so I can't justify going sledding.
Let's check in who we got in the side chat here.
Oh my!
ICE Slim and Demonorg, Greg Hartwick,
yay,
and Doc Fearsome and Brainbug.
Hey, Doc.
Yay.
Yeah,
so how's it going for everybody out there?
Like I said, though, I'm not going to gripe about the weather because I know the rest of America is freezing compared to, because we'll dry out in a couple days.
Well, for me, this is what I expect this time of year, so it's no big deal.
All right, I'm taking a look at the Weather Channel, and we've got 49
honestly,
here.
If it wasn't for me isolating for the COVID, I'd have no problem, going out shopping today.
Okay, yeah. I was going to go shopping yesterday, but it turned out where I got out of the recliner just in time to miss the bus home. So I blew money on a car home and did not stop at Walmart. So I was going to get some little food items and stuff. And then tomorrow I've got to take a car because I have an appointment with the surgeon who did my arm. She's going to check it and see whether or not we can use it for dialysis. And so I'll have to get right down there right after dialysis. So I'll have to call a car and get down there. So that's another, I don't know, $10-20, whatever it is. Oh, Lord, I don't know. This kidney thing is expensive, let me tell you.
Would you say taking an Uber or any of those is cheaper than a taxi?
I don't know. I haven't taken a taxi in a very long time.
I was surprised on how high the prices were on taxis. To me, they've always been a ripoff. I just, in comparative perspective, I don't know if Uber's cheaper.
I don't know because, for me to go, I think it's about 2 miles from here to dialysis. Usually it's about $9.50.
In California, that'd be about $15-16.
Wow. No, on Boxing Day. I had to call a car to get to
Hello.
I had to call a car to get to dialysis on Boxing Day. And I guess everybody was hungover from their Christmas parties. nobody was driving, and it cost about $23
Oh
for the
wow,
one-way trip. Yeah.
that's California prices right there. That's expensive.
Well, California is expensive for everything. It's expensive to breathe out there. This is why I'm not living there. I mean, Kay tells me I really need to be living in California, and I say, yeah, but I can't afford it.
I'm going to tell you the honest truth. In a lot of ways, it's paradise, and in every other way, I want to get the hell out of here.
Okay.
Because I think because I'm from here, I have a different perspective. Just like anybody else who's from California, I love it and hate it in the same sense. But anyone would say that about their hometown, wouldn't they? Am I stretching?
Probably. I mean, I think that way about Cleveland. And I think that way about Pittsburgh, too, as a matter of fact.
Well, I keep telling you that it'd be cheaper to live in Minnesota if for nothing else. A lot of the things you're paying for, the health insurance would cover here.
And that's another thing. Like, I recently had a moment. I purchased this house from a family member, and the phone number on this house has been in my family for over 40-something years. And AT&T came out. They did millions of dollars of work. They tore up my lawn. They tore up the street. My phone still doesn't work. And I asked myself the other day, why do I still have a landline? Because I'm holding on to the nostalgia of the phone number.
Yeah.
Because that phone number reminds me of calling my dad, of calling my mom, of being like, I know this phone number.
You could get a cell phone with another company and have that number transferred.
Really? Can I do that can I switch my number to that number?
Yep.
I might consider that.
Except that since you're using AT&T, they'll make it a pain in the ass and you'll be without it for about 2 weeks. But that's just because AT&T are assholes.
They're the worst. Yeah. I had every service through them, and then I switched. All of a sudden, my internet started working well. My cable bill went down. AT&T, they really price gouge you.
Yeah, they do.
And they have a crummy signal too.
When I moved here, I looked into Verizon to have a phone. They didn't offer the internet to me yet. So just the phone was going to be $95 a month. And I was like, what the freak is this?
If I told you how much I pay a month for my landline, I should be pointed and laughed at. And it's just, at this point, it's an idiot tax. So I'm probably going to get rid of my landline after 40s, basically since this house has been here. It's at the same phone number.
I jumped the landline when I moved in here, and it's working all right. I mean, for 2 phones, $50 a month, 2 separate phone numbers. That's why, and it's working out all right as far as that goes. Consumer cellular is what I'm using.
Oh, okay, okay. I've actually heard of that,
and they're decent. The only thing, the complaint I have right now is, I tried to ask them how to get my phone to ring longer because I can never get to it before the voicemail picks it up. They told me what to do. I tried to do it and it doesn't work. I asked them again. They told me what to do. I tried it and it doesn't work.
We should walk through it later. That should be something you can change in the settings.
Yeah, they told me what to change, and then it told me that no, you can't use that. And it's like, okay, what's going on here? Yeah, maybe we can walk through it and see what happens.
If you can find a way to make it work, I'd sure like to know, because I'd like to have mine ring longer. But I was told that it's basically, the way the network's set up, it's how long it sends the ring signal for.
Is black female atheist? That's Jenna, right?
Yep.
Jenna,
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Jenna.
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Jenna, hi.
I'm a dinosaur, and I was raised by boomers, so I still have a landline out of pure nostalgia. I still listen to Shalimar and Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm stuck in the past.
Obviously.
I love Shalimar. I absolutely love that band.
Hey, I listen to Dave Brubeck. You want to talk about in the past?
yeah.
Meanwhile, the people in the audience are, who's Dave Brubeck?
Okay, Gordon Lightfoot doesn't count as the past, even though he's 77. He's still performing.
Is he still alive? Oh, God damn.
He still does the tour of the Indian casinos.
Oh, that's like the Scorpions, the 80s band. I've seen them 6 times. And all at county fairs.
Now, already then?
I've always thought about, geez, what do rock stars think of their career when they're finally performing at county fairs and Indian casinos and that third tier kind of entertainment.
Oh, me too, all the time. Like how the mighty have fallen.
And then
I'm hoping to see
casinos. That's the other one. I mean, this is where you would go.
I want to see Kiss at a bar sometime.
I saw Belle Biv DeVoe at a casino, and I was offended for them because these men are producers and have made songs that everybody here has heard, and they're supposed to be rich and famous, and they're performing at some seedy hotels in Vegas. And I saw them at State Line, which is like 40, 50 miles from Vegas. So that's super bottom of the barrel.
Oh, God. Oh, my. I need that horse collar. Oh, damn. Don't get old.
How are you today, Jenny?
Do it.
Oh, I'm all right. We, as you can tell, have a little snow here. We got about 6 to 8 inches. And it's a little chilly. It's about 3 degrees Fahrenheit. That would be minus 15 Celsius. And so I was busy digging my car out because I didn't get to it before the plow did.
It's really funny. Simultaneously, I was whining about how it's cold here in California. While you were shoveling snow, I'm bitching about 43 degrees.
I'm going to have to go dig my car out, too, because they were plowing the lot this morning. So I had to park it on the street overnight, and I'll have to move it back to the lot.
Oh, well, the car's finally up to temperature. It only took a half an hour.
There we go.
Oh, Brainbug, you saw Molly Hatchet in real life? That's awesome. I feel sorry for people who get typecast like she did.
Oh, let's see. I've got to turn this thing on and roast my neck.
Oh, was Molly Hatchet a she? I just thought it was a band name.
Yeah, so did I.
Never seen him before.
Isn't Molly Hatchet the 80s actress that had like giant red teeth and kind of like a oblong face?
No, wait a minute. I went to Wikipedia over here, and they say Molly Hatchet is an American Southern rock band formed by guitarist Dave Brubeck in Jacksonville, Florida in 1971.
Now I got to look up the actress.
So I guess Molly Hatchet is a band name. I don't know any of this. I never get out of the house.
Yeah, I never know who celebrities are when people start talking about them.
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else. Well, I did get out of bed for this.
Are you thinking Molly Ringwald from the Rat Pack?
No, it was no, of course I knew who Molly Ringwald is. She
Rat Pack?
She actually grew up in, and Adam Carolla, they actually grew up in a town that's like one over from mine. Their side of town, there's literally a plaque that says Molly Ring. The Ringwalds lived here. And it's just a crummy part of the valley. It's just it's a suburb like anywhere else, but it's famous because people lived there.
Yeah.
I was out in near Watkins. Well, I was at Watkins Glen, but I was in the general area of Watkins Glen, New York, which is I guess that's technically the Adirondacks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Finger Lakes area and that kind of stuff. Anyways, I went to this place. It was kind of like a general store, but they had a little, not picnic area really, but a place where travelers could sit and eat, lunch and just hang out for a bit. And they had this artificial outhouse, a pretend outhouse there, and the sign on the door said, "George Washington crapped here."
right.
Oh, geez, that was great.
I love bars. There's bars in Vegas where, you know, everyone who's ever walked in there that was famous signed the wall. It's good to see,
Okay.
but you're not going to get me to walk in there just because Mick Jagger had a drink there, you know? It's a cool story, you know? Oh, that's funny. Plus, in Vegas, on the gay side of town, there was a punk rock bar there. And they asked the bar, they're like, you realize we're going to put the LGBTQIA plus side of town here. And they're like, we don't care. So that bar is actually a great place, and it's coexisted with that side of town for over 20-something years now. And every other business left that side of town.
Oh.
But because an LGBT moved in?
Well, what happened is they moved out, and then gentrification happened. All of a sudden, the streets got better. The Hard Rock improved their outside. They put in a shopping center, a Subway. I knew way too much about Vegas. They completely cleaned up that side of town. And plus, Vegas, if you have a favorite casino, go to it, because it probably won't be there a year or two from now. Their turnover is amazing. And how they can tear a building down, you'll come back a month later and a brand new casino is up. They have it down to a science.
I don't know about these things.
It's a good union to get into if you're looking for a job.
Most of the time it takes for building construction is permits and waiting for the inspectors. So that really is very much under the control of the city, and if you have enough money to bribe the inspectors.
True, because they built the football stadium like in front of my eyes almost. I would go back, and it was completed like the blink of an eye.
Oh yeah, you can save a year on constructing a house if you can pay off the inspectors to sign the forms without waiting for them to come out.
Or like my dad. Do you know, I don't ever know. I know I'm going to eventually have to sell my parents' house, but I don't know how. My dad did a ton of work on the house and didn't file one piece of paper.
Oops.
Not one. I mean, he tore down walls. He put a fountain in his backyard. There's a fountain in my backyard. There's so it's going to be fun. I don't know if they're just going to sell the house or if they're going to make me tear it down.
Find a cash buyer.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, though, the market's on fire. If you own a home right now, congratulations.
By the way, quitclaim deed is your friend.
So what's happening? When I lived in Oregon, they didn't outlaw, but they told people stop going to check cashing places. They damn near own the state of Oregon. And that's what's happening to the state of California as far as people buying homes, and its major corporations are taking over the state. So we have less and less home ownership and more mega corps renting everything out to people.
Okay, then.
Yep. Check cashing places are completely predatory and live on people who can't afford to have a bank account.
Yeah. And that's
same with title loan people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a rip.
Which one, honey?
Title
loan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh God, you might as well consider yourself giving away whatever you have the title to when you.
The state of Wisconsin legislature banned title loan companies from the state. Just banned them flat out. Don't you even think of coming here.
So this is a novice
question. And when the Republican governor Scott Walker came into office, it was the first thing he did was to get that law junked.
Is that the same as a reverse mortgage?
No, if I remember correctly.
No, a reverse mortgage is a legitimate thing.
Yeah, but you still have to be careful.
Title loans are just gigantic theft pools.
To me,
a title loan is a high budget pawn shop.
Okay. Reverse mortgage just seems I don't know. I've never seen anybody successfully do it, but they prey on seniors here with reverse mortgages.
Yes. I have people who ended up homeless because of reverse. They did not quite understand that you were essentially selling your property to this reverse mortgage company, and then they were paying you over time, and then when the payments
but you still have all the responsibility for it.
Yeah,
exactly.
The problem with the reverse mortgage with seniors is if they live longer than they expect to.
Yep, absolutely. And the one I can think of right offhand did, and she and her daughter ended up homeless.
That stuff just scares me. That's what of all the things I warn my son about, it's the stock market and beware of lenders.
Mm-hmm.
The number one lesson I try to teach kids financially is there's an old saying, and it goes, black as a banker's heart. And there is a reason because why that expression came to being, because it is true.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fuck with the bankers. They'll screw you every time.
Do you know, I miss my dad. He was a smart guy. He would loan you any amount of money that you asked him for, any amount, but he would tack on money on it like a bookie. But he would teach you, like, oh, I'll give you whatever you want, but you have to pay me. Like, if you borrowed $500, he'd want 6 or 7 back, depending on his mood.
Yeah.
And then he'd expect the 7 back and say, no, you have to pay me back $700.
Daddy was a loan shark.
Oh, he was teaching me a lesson. Don't borrow money. But but so is the government, so is your bank,
Oh yeah.
Let me do you a deal, put your money in my bank. Let me do you a deal. They're spending your money and buying stadiums and then charging you $11.99 a month just to have a bank account,
Yeah, that's what really sucks as far as I'm concerned.
It would be not so evil Knievel, Doc. If Evil Knievel had a good twin, he would be not so evil Knievel.
I do not have a bank account. The bank basically told me to piss off. I don't have enough money.
I think that's
worth it a while.
Do you know that used to be illegal, and then certain things got deregulated?
Yeah. Since the 90s, I have only dealt with credit unions. Actually, I've had the same account with a credit union in St. Paul since like 95, even though I've lived in 3 different states since then, 4 different states.
Mm-hmm.
But the nice thing with the credit union, why I keep that, is the only requirement is I keep $5 in each account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like having the Federal Credit Union. That works out very, very well. And then, of course, I have 2 banks. Yay.
I have a credit union because I lost it on Chase Bank.
Yeah, I was actually going to change my credit union when I was living in New York. And I found out that they were part of this cooperative network that actually let me use the branch office in Syracuse as a branch of the credit union in St. Paul.
I wonder if that's the network that my credit union is in. I forget what the name of it is, but yeah, you can use branches all over the freaking country.
Yep. Yeah, that's basically, I found out there's like 3 or 4 credit union branches, and most of them belong to one of those groups.
Orla, you are right. Like in America, if you don't purchase something and you're not in debt, you do not exist. If you don't have a paper trail, you don't exist.
Okay,
So
Jenny, we're getting a lot of wind noise from you.
Okay.
So that's very true. Like if you don't have a paper trail, you do not exist. I have a cousin who grew up in the woods of Georgia, and technically, if he wasn't on Facebook, he wouldn't have any. I don't even think he has a birth certificate.
Oops.
Oh, he's a real life hillbilly. He's the one who live streams whatever he finds in the forest. He'll live stream it while he's cooking it in his house.
Oh, yay.
Let me tell you about East meets West. I'm a grocery
I see.
store owner.
And how many hikers have gone missing in the woods up there?
Yeah.
Oh, he lives in the woods of Georgia, so many. Many.
Yeah, what Orla's saying here too, I ran into this problem because right when I got out of school, I got myself in trouble with running up credit cards and taking too long to pay them back.
Oh yeah.
So then I canceled them all. I cut them all up, and I decided, I was just going to go cash only. I wasn't going to spend any money I hadn't made. And I went over 25 years without a credit card. Of course, then trying to get a credit card, when my credit report kept coming up blank, everybody thought I was trying to scam them. That how was it possible that there was no entry for 20 years?
I kind of had the same thing because I really, I either had everything given to me or I just didn't own much. And then when I got married, my ex-wife destroyed my credit and I existed all of a sudden because I had to pay it back.
Hey, Jyuni.
Jyuni, yay!
And Wanderer.
Yeah. Stay alone.
Wanderer, being sick, the Snooki you sent me is definitely coming in very useful here. And Sammy likes it too.
So I do the same thing that Lone does. I call it the underground economy, but I mainly deal in cash as much as I can.
Well, now just to have it going, I mostly use my PayPal credit card for everything. I just make sure that I pay off the entire balance every month.
Hey, Perp, mute me for like 2 minutes. I gotta warm the car up. I'm gonna die.
That's important. Warming up the car.
Yeah, the doctor gave me some basically prescription cough drops and an albuterol inhaler and prednisone.
Oh yeah, that's. Hey, you're on the Godless Sewing special. That's literally how I live my life.
Well, the prednisone is what they gave my fiance every time she got checked into the emergency room.
I have to back off of it because it's a real steroid. It's an actual.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been on steroids before.
I get funny off of it. I get real funny off of prednisone. So once a month, I have to take at least 2 or 3 weeks off. I'm on like a cycle of prednisone. Because that stuff will, I literally, I'm doing the Hulk in here at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm walking back and forth, thinking about something from high school.
Well, that was with my fiance too. Literally, the staff at the emergency room congratulated me that I had set a new record and kept her out of the ER for 6 weeks.
Not being able to breathe is the worst. It's absolutely the worst.
She just had so many things that would set her off, and worst of all, most of it was things that would be avoidable if people had consideration, because it was things like perfumes and laundry detergents.
My thing pre-COVID was that I don't think people realize how important washing your hands is, because we as human beings, we're swirling with every disease that we possibly can that's outside of our skin. And you'll give me the flu virus. You'll give me the cold virus. Mm-hmm. So I was Howie Mandel before COVID, washing my hands and using my elbow to open up doors. Human beings are gross that way.
I'm going to stop muting my mic, and every 10 minutes somebody can guess which internal organ I just brought up.
Oh, yay. All right. That's the bella capatianta.
Yeah, having asthma is the worst, Slim. I'm a vindictive person, and I wouldn't wish asthma on anyone. But I wish boils on my enemies. I hope they get a bunch of boils. That's why when they talk about COVID symptoms, like that's how people with breathing issues live every single day. that's like Perp and I were talking about this before the stream. If I got COVID, I probably wouldn't know it first because my life, my quality of life is half anyways. But anyways, what was the topic today, Perp? Anti-holiday
topic. We don't need no stinking topic.
Yeah, like I said, I just figured that we had so many holidays, I wasn't even going to bother to look this time.
My biggest beef is when we started celebrating all the Hallmark holidays because of the internet.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm expected to give somebody a gift on Secretary Day, and that's a Hallmark holiday. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not whining about it.
I could use a secretary, I don't know, but I just can't afford to pay one.
I was like, I have a secretary. Oh.
I need a secretary.
Well, that's why I started just, theming them after what holidays I found on the internet, because I thought it was such a joke that you could look up any given day and there would be a half dozen holidays.
That's what I'm saying. Like they no longer have meaning if every day is, today's special day and tomorrow's extra special day.
Well, that's why the only holidays I really observe, and it's a bit of a holdover from my pagan days, but the only ones I pay any notice to are the solstice and the equinox. And that's because these are the only ones that are not arbitrary days. They're actually based on, the planet's position and angle to the sun.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So they're not arbitrary dates on a calendar.
I just recently stopped not eating meat during Lent because it was such a part of my life forever.
Wow, you were still doing that even recently?
But I love fish. I'm in love with like Alaskan. I say Alaskan polyp because they put it in everything. Hey, Doc.
Now, see, I would not have a problem with not eating fish on Friday if I could find a place that did a decent fish fry.
My wife and I used to go to a bar down the street from our house that had a really good fish fry in one of the still kind of Eastern European neighborhoods of Cleveland. It was a bit less because it was my generation rather than the generation previous. But the ex and I used to make it a point to go to a local steakhouse on Good Friday because they were so happy to see us but he was there. Pittsburgh is a Catholic theocracy, basically. And and any place that relied on meat sales was empty. So we would go and we would tip like crazy, like 60% tips or something like that. It was great.
I know someone that's from Pittsburgh. He's of Lebanese origin, and he's Catholic.
Yeah.
Still, I grew up with his kids, but like he's still Catholic, and he's in his 80s.
Yeah, Lebanon is quite Catholic, definitely.
Well, that was one of the few things that I liked about Lent was that it used to be every American Legion in VFW would have an all-you-can-eat fish fry on Fridays during Lent.
Yes.
Same here. Doc,
you can still get that over here.
Well, you can't find all-you-can-eat ones anymore.
Well, yeah, that's true, because the fish is too expensive. But
are there lots of Catholic
go to Wisconsin on a Friday, you'll find them. Where
you live, Doc, is there a lot of observing Catholics?
Oh yeah,
that's what I figured.
Yeah, there's plenty. And it's hysterical to hear my mom talk about Catholics. She doesn't seem to like them very much. She's always like, "Oh, them goddamn Catholics and their man-made ballyhoo and their folderol."
What? Like the other stuff isn't man-made?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Come on.
I was about to say.
It's like you're almost there, Ma.
Yeah.
Keep going with that.
We were brought up in the Catholic Church, but I don't really think anybody in my family is practicing Catholic anymore. Most have just drifted off to slightly less repressive churches.
I look at my family members like they're crazy if they still go to church. I have quite a few that don't, but I have quite a few that do, and I'm like, you're a grown adult. You have a choice to not walk in there. We were tortured. We were tortured as kids. Like, I don't think people understand unless you grew up in a church, which a lot of people here did. I went every Sunday, regardless of my health, how I felt, how, my parents dragged me to church every Sunday.
Hey, Alex.
The day I had say not to go, I remember sleeping in and being like, nope, I'm 18. I'm confirmed. I'm not going to church.
Yeah.
I'm confirmed religion denier.
Yeah. Oh, my parents were so mad, but it's your choice. You're confirmed.
I grew up Baptist myself, and I happen to know that Jesus tastes like stale bread and Welch's grape juice.
I almost spit my coffee out when you were saying. When I heard Jesus tastes like, I said, "Oh God, just swallow, bro. Just don't spit your coffee out."
I was the only member of my family who never got confirmed in the Catholic Church because they threw me out before I was old enough.
I was about to say mine would have done the same if I refused. That was like my parents' one condition is if I go through this ceremony, they'd leave me alone.
Well, on their third attempt to send me to the CCD classes, I got tossed out again for asking questions they didn't want to answer. The first time was when I was 8 years old in the children's Bible study, and the senior priest of the church took my mom aside and asked her to stop sending me because I was asking questions that made the nuns feel awkward.
And here's the thing, they always go on about defending the faith, and here he is trying to get out from under defending his faith. If his faith is that good, it should be able to present an argument even an 8-year-old could understand, right?
From the day that because in the Catholic Church, you don't grow up and hearing people are apologists. Yep. You never hear anyone say, I'm an apologist. So when I got online and I heard people saying, I'm a Christian apologist, I'm a Catholic apologist, you're giving away the game right there because you would need that person if what you were saying was true. You don't need a middleman or a fence if you're telling the truth.
Well, if you've got a book that was written by an all-knowing being, it shouldn't need anyone to interpret it.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Mormons, I'm looking at you. I love you guys, but your religion's a bit wacky.
I maintain that the Bible was a first draft, and God was such a diva he couldn't get an editor to work with him.
Am I on mute?
No, you're fine.
We can hear you, Jenny.
So you guys just went to the wrong church. I went to this church where it was a branch of Lutheran, but it was like not in the mainstream, let's say. Our Jesus at what do they call that when you get your little drink in your
communion?
Communion, yeah, that's it. Our Jesus tasted like potato chips and actual blood. They got cattle blood and they poured that all out, and we drank that instead of this bogus wine stuff.
All right.
That's hardcore, man.
That is hardcore. That's fucking metal. That is. I want to go to that metal church. I'll drink some. Can I slam it on my head?
Well, you see, all the churches. It wasn't a wealthy church. It had to borrow space, and so we had our services in the back room of Slaughterhouse. So I guess it was just convenient.
Okay.
Recycle, reuse, reduce. That's my saying.
Although I would think that it would question people going into the back of a slaughterhouse when the preacher refers to them as his flock.
Good point.
So let's say instead of Dominus Vobiscum, you would say Schlacht auf 5, right? With a little nod to Kurt Vonnegut there.
If you're so inclined.
For those of you who have read Slaughterhouse-Five.
I always tell the story about how my dad took me to a slaughterhouse, and I don't know how I didn't become a vegan. I have nightmares of that place sometimes.
I saw a horse getting dissected in high school.
Oh, that must have been shitloads of fun.
It was like good timing because I was on a field trip with my biology class to this veterinary school, and they just happened to have a local farmer whose horse died, and he worked out a deal with them to figure out how the horse died in exchange for using the horse's body for education.
All right, then.
That's better than donating the horse to the food program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
School lunch program.
Yeah.
When I was in junior high school, like 8th grade, 9th grade, I forget, we took a tour to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where they have the School of Agriculture, but also the School for Veterinary Medicine.
Oh, yay.
And they took us on this part of the tour where we go into this barn facility. Excuse me. And you get to see these cows that they have on for research purposes, teaching
No.
that have windows in their sides.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And you get to see the insides of the cow live in action. A few students really couldn't handle that very well.
Okay, nerdy, I can't speak for a wide sampling, but the Methodist body of Christ definitely had a bit more texture to it than the Catholic one.
Oh, the Catholic wafer is bland.
Well, that's just paste bread. Yeah, that's flour and water, essentially.
Actually, if you want to know, check with Junk Shop Library. I think he did a thing on tasting a bunch of different communion
He
wafers.
most certainly did.
I saw that. I was surprised they had little teeny ones. In the Catholic Church, you get the full disc. And that's what she said.
Did you see for COVID, they started pre-packaging them? So the priest didn't have to touch people, that churches were buying these things that had a little wafer, and a couple milliliters of the grape juice in a little packet. It was it was like church Lunchables.
Do you know what though? That's a
Jesus
throwback.
brand.
That's a throwback to the old evangelical radio, Put your hand on the receiver if you're a believer, anything to get people to pay attention to your religion.
That would be a riot. Name of Jesus brand. Communion lunch.
Oh, that's like if my rap career ever takes off, I'm gonna be the Notorious B.O.C. just to piss off everybody. It'll be the Notorious Body of Christ.
Well,
All right.
yeah, where I lived, where I was living in Michigan, the local radio station played one of the church services every Sunday.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've been doing that since forever.
When I was a little kid, my dad used to point out the absurdity of that, and he would tell me, like, these idiots are mailing money to these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was growing up...
Well, that's what the televangelist thing is all about.
Yeah, when I was growing up, the local CBS affiliate would televise Sunday Mass from somewhere. I don't exactly where. They call it Church for Shut-ins. And so if you were at home with if it hurt and had a temperature, then you could still get your weekly dose of Catholicism.
Yeah.
Doesn't Fox still play Paul Stanley or one of those guys every Sunday?
Paul Stanley, who is this now? I don't.
It's
remember.
one of those TV preachers who was always
Those are usually
on television.
contracts. Those are usually contracts with the independent station of a given town.
Okay.
We show up in La Crosse TV. There are 3 different religious stations: one Catholic, one Protestant, one evangelical.
Okay.
Yeah,
Paul
every
County is
major
one I don't
town
know.
always had at least one religious station on UHF.
Yeah, but they stopped showing that crap in Milwaukee 20 years ago.
We get a lot of Catholic stuff on TV because there's a very large Catholic population here in LA County.
Okay. Yeah.
Loyal.
I wonder why.
Well, when people come from religious countries, there's a lot of people who flat out can't shake it off.
Right. No, I was just being facetious because, I mean, with all the Hispanic population around there. No, Catholics, really?
And Korean as well.
Oh,
Korean people
okay.
love Jesus. They
I
absolutely love Jesus.
I didn't remember that the Koreans were that heavily into Catholicism, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Where I live is an extremely diverse area.
There's a movie from the Korean War era starring Rock Hudson, where he plays, and this is taken after a true story. He plays this pilot who was in World War II and had some kind of emotionally traumatic thing happen, and he got out of it, and then he went back into it because of the Korean War, and all the bombing and strafing and all that kind of stuff, and ended up wanting to. I'm forgetting the exact storyline. He got involved with a Korean orphanage that was Catholic based, and so it ended up being this whole story about his religion and wringing his hands over morality and all this kind of stuff. I can't remember the title. I think it was Eagles something or other. If you look up Rock Hudson's filmography, you'll find it in the 50s and stuff.
Are you talking about Battle Hymn?
Yes, I believe that's it.
1957, directed by Douglas Sirk.
I think I've seen that movie.
Haunted by a deadly mistake he made as a World War II bomber pilot, Reverend Dean Hess, played by Rock Hudson, re-enlists at the beginning of the Korean War despite the pleas of his faithful wife, Mary, played by Martha Heyer. In South Korea, Hess takes command of a training base where his easygoing old friend Dan Skidmore, played by Don DeFiore, is among the officers. Amidst increasing danger from enemy bombardment, Hess and local woman En Sun-yang, played by Anna Kashfi, try to protect the area's growing refugee orphan population. Yeah, that sounds like it would be it. And then there's Kitty over here. Hi, Kitty.
If you're into airplanes, it's worth watching because there's lots of P-51s in it.
I love P-51s. I wish I could have one.
They fly them over my neighborhood because our local airport, well, not our local, but the Van Nuys airport, it stores a lot of old planes and helicopters and news choppers. So I get some spectacular views sometimes. It is strange, though, every once in a while to see a World War II bomber flying over my head.
Isn't it beautiful? Where my ex lived, before she lost the house, I used to go over there and do her lawn work for her even after we'd broken up, and I used to get dinner out of it and that sort of thing. But it's not that far from the county airport where they would have the Labor Day air shows, and from there they ran that thing where you could get a ride in a B-17 for some exorbitant fee.
$400.
Yeah, and the turnaround point was right over her house, and it was just totally amazing when you're out there cutting the lawn and you see this B-17 doing a slow turn, directly overhead. It was amazing.
Yeah, about all I get here are helicopters. Mostly the medivacs, that it doesn't go more than a couple of days that we don't get them lifting somebody out of the hospital to the Mayo Clinic.
Those B-17s are owned by the Confederate Air Force.
Yeah.
And artfully restored. They're just in beautiful shape. But one of them crashed recently. Well, recently, several years ago. And there's film of it crashing and stuff. It was really pretty sad. I don't know if it was rebuildable after the crash or not. I hadn't heard.
That's really sad. We have Every once in a while, you'll get a notice in the mail around here, like there's going to be a dogfight above your house, and they'll be filming some World War II movie. I have to find them. I have some really cool pictures from the ranch when they were filming a World War II. I don't know what was going on, but they had these two bombers fighting each other. Then they had a bigger bomber fly overhead. Because of CGI and everything, I'll probably never know what movie it was, and I've probably watched it like 10 times.
Okay.
You know, but I'll never know what movie it was.
There's only I hear last I heard there was only 8 P-38s left on the planet.
Wow.
Really?
Yep.
Come
But if
to
you get
Van
really
Nuys.
good if you get really good at scuba diving,
Yeah.
you can go on out to Lake Michigan and you'll find about 60 Corsairs and Thunderbolts, I believe, where the Navy had a training aircraft carrier in Lake Michigan. And of course, they're students, so a lot of them went down. And they believe there's about 60 of them still down there.
Same with Goose Island in Portland, Oregon. They did the same thing in World War II.
Yeah, when I was living north of Chicago, a longtime friend of the family bought into the ad campaign from the Navy of join the Navy, see the world.
All right then.
Yeah, he went through his basic training. They assigned him to Glenview Naval Air Base, which was only about 30 miles north. You know, and it's like, okay, at some point he's got to be on a ship if he's in the Navy.
Nope.
They assigned him to the training carrier in Lake Michigan.
Oh,
He was in the Navy for 4 years and never left the state of Illinois.
When the naval station in Illinois was really active, it was still active in the 60s and very early 70s. God, you'd see sailors in Milwaukee all the time on leave.
Okay.
You know,
I
in
like
their little white uniforms and getting busted by the MPs and stuff.
I like the old propaganda poster, join the Navy, ride the waves. Think about it, kids.
Did they have a surfer in the picture?
I always say when I tell
You
people
remember
like
the waves, right, Jenny?
Oh yeah. Those are the women's.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, whenever I tell people, oh, I've been around the world, I make sure to tell them without the U.S. military, because everyone always assumes that I was in the military. But I couldn't pass there because most people of my complexion that say they've been around the world were served one way or the other.
Oh, okay.
Especially around here, especially where I live. And if you take race, or it's more of a regional thing where I live, where most people are like, you really did that? And I always say, like, when your friend says, oh, I backpacked through Europe for a summer, they were homeless for a summer. They had the time of their life, but they were a hobo. It's not as romantic when it's raining, you know, or when you had to sleep by a bench somewhere in a country that you know nothing about. It's not sexy anymore.
I want to go fetch one of those Corsairs out of the bottom of Lake Michigan. They should be in really good shape. They should be in really good shape because Lake Michigan is so damn cold at its bottom. It's not as cold as Lake Superior, but it's close.
Nearly as badly as saltwater would.
Yep.
I was about to say, how many think you could pull out of the Pacific? You know,
probably very few with all the salt water.
How many of you guys have seen that documentary? I think it was on National Geographic when they found I want to say like a Japanese plane. It was wrapped in a tree, and the tree had completely taken it over. And when they found it, the pilot was still inside.
Groovy.
Oh, he had come and gone. He was a part of nature at that point. Nature had taken over.
Oh! I was wondering what he used for an outhouse. Jeez, I'm sorry.
he was a way skeleton by the time they found him. You know.
Well, if there's any wrecks out in the ocean, they're probably not there anymore. Illegal salvage operations, especially from World War II material, are big.
Oh yeah.
Well, we got to remember
because they want the pre-nuclear steel for making instruments.
You got to remember that's 80 years ago now.
Is that why people offer me so much money for my World War II era sewing machines or anything I have that's from that era?
Oh,
Probably.
God,
Any
yeah.
steel that was manufactured before the nuclear bombs were dropped.
I never thought about that because my 1930s sewing machines like flew off when I put them up for sale.
Because any steel that was manufactured after World War II has traces of radiation in it, which, like when they're making instruments for aircraft, can screw up the calibrations.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
You know, Will, with all the stuff you got, you should go talk to one of the movie house or prop movie house movie prop house companies.
I'm thinking about donating a lot of my stuff to someone like that because my dad was a huge World War II collector.
No, sell it because they make money like hand over fist on that stuff.
Well, yeah, like a lot of the stuff from that H word we're not allowed to say. I'll sell it heartlessly. I could care less. You know, I could care less. I don't have nostalgia like my dad did. When he told me a story about when he was a kid. His father and him were collecting metal for World War II. They were literally walking on the beach, grabbing cans, anything they could, and they the United States Navy caught a U-boat off the coast of Georgia, and my father and his father witnessed the Coast Guard, the Marines, and anyone they could muster march the Nazis to jail, basically.
You know how old me, Perp, and Diana are? We remember when beer was in steel cans.
Yes, absolutely.
So my dad had this weird World War II obsession. So he collected everything. Like, it didn't matter what country it was from, he collected it. And so I have a lot of stuff up for sale. A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
but
actually, when I was in high school in Michigan, that's for the shop classes, they bust us out to one of the old mines that they still had kept the shops going. And in one corner of the metal shop there was this old lathe that nobody wanted to use because it was literally from World War II. But nobody else wanted to mess with it, so it was always the only one open. I figured out how to use it, and it was always there for me because nobody else wanted to touch it.
Oh, I would love to buy an old Bridgeport. God damn. You can pick those things up for $1,000 if you have somewhere to put it or if you have a way to transport it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I got a truck for you.
I don't know. I'm guessing, but I'll bet you a Bridgeport weighs at least 1,000 to 1,500 pounds.
Oh, yeah, I would say the one I was working with was a good half a ton.
Wow.
I don't know what company made it offhand now.
And then you better have a concrete floor that's 6 to 8 inches.
Yep.
Yeah, otherwise you turn it into powder.
Yeah, it needs this, and it needs a stability and loss of vibrations.
Well, but that was the reason these shops were there, is they had been built there to maintain the mining equipment. You know, so this was equipment that was made for making replacement parts for the mining machinery back in the 50s.
I've always wanted to work at a company that restores or maintains locomotives and other rail equipment. When I was a kid, I saw them refurbishing a wheel for your basic rail car, and they got this big fucking thing that weighs God knows how much, and they're spinning it on a lathe and cutting the rail surface of it to smooth it out again, and then they put it back out into service. Even though it's a touch smaller, it's nice and clean and ready to go.
Come on out here and get yourself a position at the Trolley Museum.
I was about to say we have one here too in Los Angeles, in Griffith Park, in beautiful Griffith Park, California. There's an amazing railroad museum. It's actually something, Isaiah, we go there at least once a year. I'm a grown man, and my year is not complete unless I go in the mini train and ride around the property on the little mini train they had that's older than me, you know. I love
I
that
don't know.
place.
I may have to think about trying to manage enough money to rent a car once a year or something, and then I go to some of these places around here, like the Trolley Museum in Washington County, or maybe see a game at the minor league park in Washington County again, or the Dark Sky locations north of Pittsburgh. That's another one that I'd like to go to.
Minor league baseball games are an experience to themselves. It's
Aren't
like a
they?
college. It's like a college football game. I
Yeah.
love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
we have a Pioneer League team out here. This is the one where the kids right out of college, I mean, they may be about 22, 23 years old. And they're really, really having the hopes and the dreams, and they hope they can make it and everything. And they play their arses off. They really do.
Oh yeah. When I lived in St. Paul, I sometimes went to the Saints games, which was the Minnesota Twins farm team.
Okay, then.
So these were like mostly guys in their like 20s and 30s that were trying to prove they were good enough to make it in the big league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Pioneer League, I think that they have an age limit, and I'm trying to remember what I think it's 26 or something like that. If you haven't graduated out by 26, then you're gone. You still
Oh
can't play.
wow. There's someone I went to high school with. He's a bit of a local legend around here. He never made it to the big leagues, but he's been on the Lancaster Jayhawks for 15, almost 20 years now. And he's older than me, so he's got to be like, well into his 40s.
Well, is that one of the
It's a AAA baseball team.
yeah, because it's got one or more A's. Yeah, Pioneer League doesn't even have any A's.
Oh, okay. I love that atmosphere. I absolutely. Doc, please tell me that there's minor league baseball teams where you live.
What? You talking to me?
Yeah. Are there
Yeah. What was
there-
the question?
are there minor league baseball teams around you?
Oh, fuck! I don't know.
Was
Iowa, by definition, everything is minor league.
but was
I mean, there's there's of course baseball teams for schools, but in schools and colleges, but I don't know if that's I don't think that's minor league.
was Field of Dreams filmed in Iowa? I have to look that up.
Or I don't know if it was filmed in Iowa. It might have been.
I believe some of it was.
Yeah.
I think that's why I when I think of Iowa, I think of baseball because I watched too much television growing up.
Hey, everybody, let's have some fun.
Oh shit.
What are you doing, donuts?
Okay, but what do we do when you crash?
I won't cry. I'm very good at this.
She said.
Yeah, exactly. I've been in a
And
car
there's
accident.
a sign.
I'm super flinchy because I've been in a car accident. I was extremely cocky until I crashed, and then
Yeah.
it calmed me down.
I have never been a carouser in vehicles.
Really?
I've never been the one to burn out and do donuts and all that nonsense.
Have you ever owned like a big vehicle?
No. My current vehicle is the biggest one I've ever owned.
Yeah, I've never been one to enjoy cars or that, but usually after we get the first serious snowfall, I like to go out to an empty parking lot and spin donuts just to see how the car's going to handle in the snow.
Yeah. That's
You know,
not a
'cause
bad idea.
I mean, every season it's a little different. You wear down the tires a little more, that kind of thing.
I
grew-
basically do that just by going out and driving on the road. But
Well,
Your-
like I
your
said,
idea is
that's why I
probably
like
better.
go out to the Target parking lot when there's nobody there and just spin donuts for a while.
When I was a kid, we used to go womping in the dirt, but quite honestly, like they built $1 million homes where there used to be mud and mountains. So my area has been gentrified completely. So funny story, Robert X. There was one time, this was so long ago. This is probably 14 years ago now. I worked with this young man at the ranch who would wear $200 jeans on the job. And
Okay.
one day in the truck, I'm giving him a speech about safety and about why I wear Walmart clothes and crappy boots to work because I'm going to beat him up, you know? And as I'm backing up in the shop truck, I'm like, you need to be safe. You need to pay attention to what you're doing. I backed into an oak tree. And completely, and well, we still have the truck. It's a Toyota Pre-Runner. It's a 2-seater, but we reinforced it so we could like throw actual real like heavy workloads on it. I destroyed the truck. And my dad grabbed me. He said, "Do you know if you were anyone else, I would drug test you and fire you?"
That's funny.
But I was being an ass. I was on my high horse giving someone a speech about safety and not paying attention. So don't wear $300 jeans when you're digging ditches. We were literally digging ditches, and this kid shows up in $300 jeans.
Yeah, that's one of the adjustments I'm having to make, that, all my life, because of the work I was doing and all that, and because I didn't really care, I always pretty much wore disposable clothes.
Absolutely.
So it's like,
I
now
still
that I'm
do.
transitioning, I'm kind of paying attention to my clothes now. It's a whole new thing for me.
Oh, I still wear.
That really is
crap.
an interesting that you mentioned that. Perps, since I did my second transition, I had nothing but androgynous or guy clothes before, and I sent them all away and burned them, and I've been rebuilding my wardrobe ever since. I can only afford maybe one piece every 3 months.
Yeah.
$30-$40. But I've got this closet now that's actually got stuff in it, and I've gotten real proud of it, and I really respect my clothes now and take good care of them, and it's something I never ever did as ever in my life.
That's awesome. Build your closet. As someone who has a walk-in closet, build your closet.
Well, I've been picking up pieces at the thrift store because that's all I can afford so far. But I'm really lost about how to put an outfit together. I don't know what goes with what.
Don't wear two types of prints and colors that are on the same side of the color wheel.
You do have a person of color in your life, and I'll teach you how to color coordinate real quick. Real quick.
All right.
Still to this day, I die of laughter. Chris Rock, after Katrina, he said when he walked into the Superdome, he had never seen so many black people badly dressed in the same place at the same time. People of color know how to dress. They know how to dress.
Hey, you guys, I got to go to the bathroom, but this map of our town, I'm going to go up to it before I go to the bathroom. I'm going
to... So mindful. Yes, I do actually donate my clothes, but I have like hundreds of pieces. I am a thrift store.
Yeah,
but
literally my whole life, my wardrobe has been, jeans and an assortment of different color t-shirts and a denim jacket. That is like all I have worn since I was 14.
You just described my my entire wardrobe. Someone I work with, he calls me the sun-baked Willie Nelson because all I do is wear jean jackets and jeans at work.
Yep. Well, and part of it was that, getting into therapy, we lost Doc. Getting into therapy for transitioning made me realize that, I never wanted anybody to look at me.
Mm-hmm. I reached a point in my life where I stopped caring about what people thought of me, and it was refreshing.
Yeah.
Okay then.
And not in a negative way. I don't walk around looking for fights. I don't even necessarily confront people if they say something stupid to me. But I just genuinely became okay with myself.
Yeah. Well, I'm still gonna stick with what I know, what I'm comfortable with. But So even the stuff I'm picking up now, it's mostly going to be based on denim.
So mindful.
Leather would be nice, but it's out of my budget.
Okay, so I got this jacket for like $10 at a thrift store, and this is leather. It's probably my age, but like, I don't think I've ever owned a brand new leather coat.
Hey, best deal I ever got. I bought a leather jacket for $10 at a thrift store, and I found a $20 bill in the pocket.
Perfect.
Swanky.
This is just warm. I'm surprised on how warm the leather coats are. That's why I use them as an undercoat for all my vests, especially this time of year. But I'm not.
I got a bomber jacket for Christmas several years ago, and unfortunately, the cats ripped the hell out of it.
Oh, those jackets are amazing.
Yes, they are. They're warm. Oh, my word.
Isaiah has my dad's old, he has like a Navy style bomber jacket. When they say Navy, Army, they all kind of dressed alike back in the day.
Yeah. Well, okay, like Mindful's saying about the fashion industry and environmentally conscious. Okay, I wouldn't buy any kind of exotic leather or that. I wouldn't buy any kind of exotic leather, but if it's just cowhide, it's like how many thousands of cows a week do they make into hamburgers for McDonald's? So buying leather is not going to increase the number of animals that are slaughtered.
So there's a boot place I go to in good old Bakersfield, California, and they say that every time. They're like, these aren't exotic cows. They're like, these cows came from down the street. Because I wear a specific type of work boot.
Yeah, a friend of mine, when he was in school, he did a student film that premiered at a local film festival. And his disclaimer on the film was that no animals were harmed in the filming of this movie. However, 5,000 cows were killed for McDonald's in the time it took you to watch it.
Oh,
all right.
It's true. Central California, people are shocked first you could smell Central California about 20 miles out, but when you get near anywhere on a major highway, you'll come up on a large swath of land and you'll see 100,000 cows out in the field. And then you'll go about 10 miles up on the opposite side of the road on another property, you'll see 200,000 cows.
Yeah, Mark, I'm never going to be big on fashion, but, I do have to be a little more concerned about how I look just to, basically to expect to be treated like female. I have to have some of the social cues.
Yeah, well, as I tell people, I'm trans. I need all the visual and social cues I can get. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah. Well,
so did you like my little tour of the net?
Yeah, that was cool, Jenny.
It is the og and it is the foo. That's what it is. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to move that one over.
Mage, you are you're extremely correct with that we need to be more humane towards our food. I've been to multiple slaughterhouses and still to this day, like, you don't want to know how your food gets to your table.
Well, I tell you, I'm really impressed the way some vegetarians and even vegans were asked, were you able to get vat-grown meat? Would you eat it? And many of them said they would, and I would if I could get it, and if I could get it at a decent price. And then for me, that would be super cheap, and it would never happen because. So I don't know what's going to happen when the food stamp amount gets reduced, because I'm getting extra food stamps because of COVID right now.
In California,
see, and that's the problem. That if you're poor, it's really hard to even eat ethically.
Yeah.
Because
hard to
if
eat it
you've
all.
got to eat, if you've got to eat in a very limited budget, honestly, especially when I was in Michigan, it's like, ground beef and chicken was cheap because they could ship that frozen. Fresh
Yeah.
produce was hideously expensive.
Oh yeah.
Here in California, I call it fake meat, whatever you want to call it, Beyond Meat. It's affordable, but I think it's affordable because a large amount of people eat it. Isaiah eats it. I think it's disgusting. I don't like the smell. It smells so bad. Like, the only reason I've let him cook it in the kitchen is because it's been too cold to barbecue.
That was the experience we had too, that we got some of that Beyond Meat sausage, and just trying to cook it, the smell was so bad that neither of us could actually bring ourselves to eat it.
And trigger warning, I'm gonna be vulgar and try to be funny, but it smells like cat piss.
Hey.
My son and I have this argument. I have to walk out of the room when he starts cooking it.
Now the interesting thing is, when he was here, Jeff and I went to Strike and I went to a place where we had the Impossible Burger, and those things were pretty
Burger
good.
King.
No, we went to it was called Burgatory.
Oh,
okay.
It was a somewhat high end. The burgers were $13 each. It was definitely not Burger King. And we had Impossible Burger and bourbon milkshakes. And we had the waitress just laughing all over the place. She loved having us there, and I got some good memories from that. I miss you, Jeff. I miss you.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't had any good Impossible Burgers because the store-bought one. And I always say, if something's on sale, pay attention to that. If your chicken's $1.39, ask yourself why.
So you say plant-based options are far cheaper than meat.
Not
But
really.
you go in the grocery store, that's not the case.
Here-
The Impossible Burgers and that are significantly more than just buying ground beef.
Yeah, and ground beef is horrible. I mean, that shit's $5 a pound, even for the stuff that's half fat.
I would like to make a couple comments about this. My income is just kind of above the $1,000 a month range. Now, first of all, imagine trying to live on that, especially when 45% of it goes to rent.
Yeah.
What we try to do as poor people when we go to the grocery store is to put together meals that cost $3 or less for the day.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, to show me the meat that you're going to buy that is going to fill you up and make it nutritious all around for $3 a day, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And so poor people can't even afford meat. Okay, I don't get food stamps or anything.
Well, okay, partly because
and so it's really brutal. You end up living on carbohydrates like ramen noodles and rice because that's what's affordable, and beans and because it's affordable.
Yeah,
you don't buy no fresh produce. You don't buy no meat.
Together, if we can get the ground beef on sale, then we can do something that's like a pound of ground beef and some pasta or rice and some kind of sauce, and we can still bring that in for, like $6 to feed two of us for the day.
Yeah, I used to live on rice and beans, and I'm not supposed to do that anymore as a kidney patient because beans are all full of phosphorus and rice is all full of fluid. So, okay, number one, you're poor. Number two, you're a kidney patient. You can't eat at all. And, it's like, what the hell is going on here?
Because I grew up, excuse me, because I grew up eating that, I still eat like that. I have beans soaking on the stove right now.
Oh, I love rice and beans. I really do. Let's see. One of my favorite meals is Moros y Cristianos. You know that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see what else. there's a fairly decent pinto bean stew that I can make.
I learned from my grandma. She would make refried beans from scratch. She'd make just any kind of bean you could possibly think of. But as I got older, like she would keep it in the fridge so long that it would almost become penicillin. And she would just stir it in and heat it up. And like one day I caught her and I remember even as a little kid thinking like, well, I wonder how long I've been eating this stuff.
There you go.
Like
yeah.
I've been eating it. Like she's probably always been cooking it like that, you know. Good old days.
Oh my word! But,
How are you, Sal?
Hey guys, I'm absolutely great. How are you guys doing?
Well, thank you.
Yay! Well,
I'm
actually,
alive.
Yeah, everybody asks me how I'm feeling, and I always say, in a word.
It's raining in a part of America where it usually doesn't rain, here in not so sunny Southern California.
Are you still getting rain?
Yeah, it's been raining for a while. We need it. We need it badly.
Oh, I
We're
know, but geez, like, what is it? A week solid now?
Something like that.
off and on, yeah. And
Well-
we got a new storm coming in, and
And-
this is just the beginning of it.
And while you need it, there's always a question of how fast can the ground absorb it. So I'm surprised you're not having landslides.
We have, and last week I was sitting here and a flood warning came on all my screens and I'm like, what is this? What is this magic on my screen? But it was a flood warning, and it had been a long time since the National Weather Service had talked to people in Southern California.
All right.
It's been a
then.
long time.
Yeah, I heard that I saw a news report today. There's like 15 foot of snowpack already in the Sierra Nevadas.
Yes, and I knew I knew the snow was effective because all the snowboard places are open now, and they're advertising on TV. They're like, "Come on down to Big Bear, come on down to Mammoth, come on down." You know, they're open.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the
ready to
state
go.
patrol saying, don't go anywhere near the road. Just stay home. Don't even try.
Last night during the hockey game, 3 different mountains had advertisements, and I think the NHL was pumping these places like, hey, go skiing, go play hockey outside over here, you know.
Well, I
It was
also
really-
heard that they have avalanche warnings all over the place. This is way too early in this year for that. Those usually don't come till like March.
Well, here we're more in danger because, you know, Southern California is built in the hills. We're more in danger of your house falling into the other one. That's why
I'm also in the mountains.
I like it. I love where I live. Like it just I don't know. I'm biased though.
All
But
the people around here have boreholes, you know, where they extract the water out of the ground. So they don't pay for water. And when the rains come, it's been raining like the whole of December. And I'm very lucky. I get a gap between the horizon and the clouds to see where the sun goes down. So the boreholes have been refilled. I think it's called the aqua something, the water underground.
Yeah, the aquifers,
The aquifer.
or the
Yeah.
underground water reservoirs.
Yes, and the whole of Pretoria uses these boreholes. So so the water needs to be replenished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in America, we actually have lots of cities that limit the legal amount you can gather rainwater in barrels on your property.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Well,
I
I
did
think
see.
is absolutely absurd. There should
Okay.
Yes,
be
I
no
also
law.
think it's absurd. Because I saw a thing once where they, a couple of years ago, they put a guy in jail in your country for collecting rainwater.
So
Yep.
here,
I mean, that is from nature, guys.
Okay, the real reason for that in most cities has nothing to do really with collecting the water, but it's for mosquito control. They don't want the stagnant water sitting around.
Same here. I have
Oh.
a fountain, and if you do not have a chlorine bobber in your body of water, someone will call the cops on you. We have such a bad mosquito. The mosquitoes are gross here.
I actually didn't realize that about the mosquitoes.
Oh yeah.
So we have some news. Fireworks has been like banned in my country completely, unless you apply for a permit, and the the requirements are quite, as one of your people said, absurd, because they said like they want 1 to 5,000 scale drawing of all the buildings around where you want to let off these fireworks, and 1 to 5,000 I think is a little bit psycho.
That's what kind of fireworks are we talking about?
We are talking about like if you light this, I don't know what kind of fireworks you have, but the ones in this country, like people hold these long, like pipe looking ones where you light
Mortars.
the top and then you just hold it,
Yeah,
and it just
sparklers.
bursts off like 100 shots.
Oh,
Something
sounds like a
like
Roman
that,
candle.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't know the names of these things. I just know what they
you're
do.
describing sounds like what I remember as a Roman candle. Yeah, and the little balls would go foof.
Yes,
Boom,
and they just
you know.
go up and they like sort of pop, and give a little burst of color.
Yep. Mhm.
Well, see, when I was growing up, most states you had to have a license to buy fireworks.
It's
You
so
know, and,
illegal
like,
here.
Through the 70s
Yeah,
and
the
80s,
people-
they deregulated all that.
The people who sell the fireworks have to have the license to sell it. But so far, I don't know that you need a license to buy it. But now they say that we have the Indian festival, Diwali or Deepavali. The Indians shoot off fireworks for that. And then we've got Guy Fawkes. Some people celebrate that. And then obviously for New Year's.
Oh,
Now,
Yep.
yeah, my husband makes the argument if they can shoot the fireworks off the Burj Khalifa, then we should be able to just shoot off like a little bit of, like individual fireworks just in your private space. I don't know.
So where I live, everything's illegal. Collecting rainwater is illegal. Fireworks.
Everything's illegal.
Fireworks
I'm
are
surprised
illegal.
they don't charge you for breathing air.
Oh, when they figure out how to in California, they will. But but the one thing about it is everybody shoots off fireworks, and I don't know people who do not collect rainwater. I know a firefighter who taught me and gave me 2 giant blue barrels and taught me how to stabilize the water and everything. So people do it regardless of the law, is what I'm saying.
Purple?
Yeah.
I'm going to move my position. You might want to mute me. Don't turn off the camera. But
Okay.
mute me, and I got to go set up in a different...
Like they said in what's that movie? Pirates of the Caribbean, rules are guidelines sometimes.
Well, in my country, they encourage you to collect water. We have, even though we are surrounded by 2 oceans, we have the Atlantic and the Indian. We do not have a desalination plant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have a major water problem. We are taking water from Lesotho, and the fact that we don't have a desalination, we have people still buying water in 25-liter drums. So, water is a big contention for me, especially when we have an ocean to, exploit because of global warming, the rising of the oceans. I think that desalination will help the the people who have like islands and coastal towns who may be flooded by these rising ocean levels.
The problem with
Desalinate the water.
Well, desalination tends to be energy intensive.
I
It tends to
know, but
require a lot of electricity.
yeah, but once you set it up, isn't it viable?
It depends on how you're
Electricity-
getting the energy and what's
Purple.
available in your location.
Energy is also a point of contention in my country because
Right. Yeah, I
us
remember you
Godless
saying about that.
Sewing, he knows that my country is selling our electricity to like Zimbabwe and
Oh yeah.
Zambia.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we get all the scraps that are left over. I must say that we haven't had load shedding for like 3 weeks. That I think is a record, but I think because it's like the festive season and they don't want to like, disappoint people. So
They're
they
gonna
are
do it
trying
to us.
just
They're gonna do it to us here. I just got an announcement that on January 4th they're gonna cut our power off for at least 6 or 7 hours for that very reason.
holy sh- and that's in the city of California, hey?
In Los Angeles, California.
Oh, the city of Los Angeles, California.
It's because even our infrastructure is old. It can't take all the people here. And people do not observe. We have power restrictions where they ask you not to use certain appliances until after 5 o'clock. And I doubt
Every
people are on
night,
there.
Godless Sewing, every night we get a message on the news to say what color, I don't know what you call it, but it's like either orange or red every night.
Mm-hmm.
We are never in the black, nothing is ever okay. They can just decide, okay, things have gotten out of control now, we're just putting everything off.
We're gonna be there soon. Where I live, we're gonna be
That
there.
is very
soon.
surprising. Like, aren't you like a very rich state? I did see a headline, I don't know whether it was today or yesterday, that said like 400,000 people fled California. They are moving to other states. I don't know what I didn't like really see the article.
It's because first it's the conservatives are leaving first because we're making it completely illegal to discriminate people here. And so a lot of the conservatives are saying, "Oh, America's going to hell." No, you just can't openly discriminate in the state of California.
Yeah, but shouldn't we just not discriminate? Because, I mean, damn it, we are all the damn same species, guys. Come on.
Well, what is a conservative
Indeed.
who cannot discriminate? Really?
And also, we're being priced out. Like I said, being a homeowner in Southern California for someone my age is rare now. I mean, I'm one of my own... out of like 10, 15 people that I know that are my age, I'm the only person that doesn't live with their parents. Because
joking?
Most people my age cannot afford to own a home.
Right.
Oh my gosh, especially like I'm in my 40s. Do you know 50 years ago, most people my age owned a home and were established. I just got my shit together like 5 or 6 years ago.
I just want to ask, did they like sell their homes and move away, or they just never bought homes in the first place?
Couldn't afford to buy homes.
They can't afford to buy homes. Like right now, like I said earlier in the stream, if you own a home, congratulations. The prices are through the roof. But the question is, who can afford to buy your home?
Yeah.
There's
never been any point in my life where it was realistic for me to think of buying a home.
Me too.
My ex had a house only because she inherited it from her grandparents.
Exactly. Okay. I read an article on Facebook about that last night about how, like, if you're African American, like, okay, you're gonna get $2 million for your mom's home because she bought it and it's in a gentrified neighborhood. But should you keep it or should I read this article like, should you keep your grandma's house or should you sell it? I recently sold my grandmother's house for an outrageous amount of money, and I don't regret it, but it's something to think about if you don't have generational wealth.
What's really interesting, the Slimy Bastards were 34 when they bought a house in 1959. They bought it for 22.5, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
I saw in the Cuyahoga County real estate listings that it recently sold for 160,000. And believe you me, if that house is anything like I remember it, it's not worth it. But it did sell for that.
My parents bought their first home in '64. They paid $16,000 for it. Brand new built house. Like
same with the Slimy Bastards.
1,200 square feet.
Yep.
And it sold. Well, this is about 10 years ago now. It sold for $165,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my
That's about the
generational wealth
general-
was a box of antique carpenter's tools.
That's
Yeah,
about the general price if you convert it to my currency to buy a decent house. You're like, I have 3 kids. So each of them would have a bedroom. So I would consider like 4 bedrooms, with like a spare room. And I'm talking maybe 1.2 million in my currency.
Okay.
So like about 175,000 in your money.
so
Okay,
funny
then.
that in California that almost equals out to the same price. I have well, actually my neighbor 3-bedroom house sold for $800,000. And
Wow.
that was the
Yeah,
junkie house on the block.
Well,
What was the interesting thing with the Slimy Bastards house? There were a number of transfers. Several of them were just paperwork as far as the Slimy Bastards will was concerned. But then I guess when she went into a nursing home, she surrendered the house to them. And then the house was sold from whoever she surrendered it to someone else. When she surrendered the house, it went for 80,000, and then the next sale, only a few months later, was 160.
Oh yeah.
What the hell?
Oh,
Well,
people.
well,
And
you
people
mentioned
are willing
earlier-
to pay that crazy price for the house. They know it's
really,
old. They
yeah.
know
Well-
it's rackety.
but also
Will, you
if she
mentioned-
was
you
signing it as
mentioned-
a surrender, they would automatically undervalue the house.
Mhm.
What's that, Jenny?
Will, you mentioned earlier that corporations were buying houses and stuff. One of the reasons that's happening is because the market has gone so insane that there aren't common people who can afford to buy a house. So the corporations are doing it, and they're the ones who are fueling this speculative market. Is flippers and
Yeah.
corporations that
Oh, God,
cashing
yeah.
in.
Oh, don't even
Flippers
get me
were the worst thing that happened to the housing market, really.
exactly. Don't even get me
Yes,
started on
agreed.
flippers. Like in my neighborhood, like you will get cursed if someone comes around here, like, and they're not a realtor, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so and so." They will get told to f off. Flippers, we do not treat them with respect around here.
The
Because
property.
we had
Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I'll say it real quick and shut up. We had someone who flipped a house next to my neighbor who's a sheriff, and they promptly moved in 5 heroin addicts who were living next to a Los Angeles County sheriff. We got tired of my neighbor who is a cop would call the cops on that house so many times. We got tired of it. So I'm not okay with house flippers because they don't always have the greatest residents
Yeah,
because they
my
just want
ex-
their rent.
My ex bought a house from a flipper. I know the flipper paid maybe 25 or so for the house. It did sustain some damage. Put about $10,000 into it. Sold it for 47, and the job he did on it was so shitty that you could. I couldn't say anything to my ex because she's always right, but I wanted to say you don't want this house. And unfortunately, she lost it. Well, she got herself fired from her job. This is a story entirely. The place was actually falling apart when she lost it. So, temporary posts holding up structural elements of the house. You're not supposed to put a temporary post in where a permanent thing is supposed to be, but that's what they did.
I wouldn't be able to.
You mean like a
sleep
lally column?
Say, honey?
Like a lally column in the basement?
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. But I'm from
But
the
don't you
Earth.
guys find that at this time in our history, people who are building aren't building to the best of their ability. They seem to cut corners.
Oh, of
The
course.
first storm, things fall apart.
Oh, yeah.
We had a baby die last week.
Sal, what's going on is they are building to the best of their ability. They're just complete hacks. They don't have
Yes.
There
That
it
is
is.
so
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
should I say up to scratch, up to standard, you know,
Where I live,
quality and all of that.
the one thing I still don't understand is they're pumping out all these $1 million homes. Autopsy club meetings.
Hey, Corosto, what do we have going on over
Hey,
here?
my name is
Wait
Mike.
a minute. It's the wrong
I just
side.
don't get it. They're building.
I just want to. The
all these-
property that I'm on at the moment, obviously not mine, but it is for sale, and it's 1 million acres for 120 million rand. So like about $17 million.
Well, unfortunately,
Very
what's happening in the
huge.
U.S. is people are no longer building houses to have a place to live.
Right.
They are building houses
Right.
as an investment.
Here
So they don't
also.
really care about long term because they expect they're going to sell it within 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Or rent it for like, let it be a renting
Yeah,
place.
they will do what there was a developer somewhere on Long Island that bought up an entire neighborhood where I used to live, and basically they just bought it, rented it out, put nothing into maintenance, and when it all fell apart and the government removed the subsidies because they rented it out as subsidized housing, they just let it go to shit. They to tear it down because they got all their money out of it.
Oh yeah, that's what's happening here right now in Los Angeles.
And
But
what I
then
would
we
really
just-
like to see, I hate to say this, and I know people are going to be knocking on my door, but I would really like to see people start taking things into their hands and say, we've had enough of this.
That's the only way anything's ever going to happen is if we took our power back.
Yeah.
When are you gonna do that though? I'm just curious because
Well, I
hear
cannot do it by
even for my
myself.
country, people need to do that and they don't. Everybody just says yes, we need to, but nobody actually does
Yeah,
unless you reach the point where it affects you personally.
Yeah.
Then you stand up and say, "Yeah, fuck this shit."
Well,
Sorry.
and as long
They
as
don't, they don't realize how much it already is affecting them personally because it's little by little, and they lose a little more and they lose a little more, and it always seems normal. Every time they lose a little more, it's, well, we can deal with this, and they lose a
Yes.
little more. And when you finally get to a certain point, you look back 10 years and you see how much you lost, but they never look back.
Of course
Yes.
not. Look at was it the 80s or the 90s? No one cared about HIV/AIDS until Magic Johnson got it.
Right.
At least where I'm from, no one even heard of it really or cared until Magic Johnson announced it. And then all of a sudden, we had all these AIDS organizations and all the
And the
balls started rolling.
movie.
Yeah, but
and the
before-
politicians running the system know full well that as long as the majority of the people think they have more to lose than they have to gain,
Yes.
just put up with it and things will go on.
Yes.
And that is such a nasty way for them to just let us live. Because even here, we found out, well, there was a story that resurfaced. One of the retail stores here bought the rights of a milk producing company in Poland. And everybody was up in arms. They said, oh, we need to boycott this retailer because they are importing milk. But meanwhile, we found out that they were not importing the milk. They bought the rights to the company. So, they can have an actual product to distribute because the companies in South Africa weren't supporting this retailer. So they had to make a plan, and they did. So it's a difficult situation to try and convince the people that, hey, what you're thinking is wrong, because everybody has their own opinion. whether it's right or wrong.
Mhm.
Very true.
I mean, this is why I'm actually, I'll go ahead and say it. I've said it a number of times. People don't want to hear it, but you can all go fuck yourselves. I am happy that I am not well, and I'm not going to last as long as everybody thinks I'm going to last, because I'm not going to have to put up with this shit as long as I would have.
Well, I don't think America is going to plunge into civil war as fast as everybody thinks that we are.
Darn it.
Because we're very selfish as Americans, because I've lived in other countries and there's certain things that we take for granted. Like, right now, Jenny is looking at a paved road. Where I lived in Mexico, my family lived on the good side of town and they didn't have a paved road.
I remember being on the good side of town with gravel roads. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
where I lived in
very
Michigan,
young.
where I was in Michigan, my mom lived 5 miles out of town. And there was one guy on that road that was living on a military pension. He was the rich one. And everybody referred to that as the house with the concrete driveway.
Mm.
When I hear stories like this in America, from Americans, I'm always so shocked, because it seems like you have the same situation, not exactly the same, but, the dirt roads and struggling through rocky terrain to get to where you need to go.
Oh, yeah, you get outside the major cities.
Yeah, because I've been to places in Texas that are more impoverished than third world countries. That's why I think in America, like, we don't even realize that, like, what a second world country is. I lived in Mexico for a while, and their way of life is almost more sustainable than the American way of life, but we just have more money and more stuff. But they're like more practical, and their stuff is biodegradable or gets recycled. It's just a different way of life.
We've got some places in Africa where they don't even have like proper roads, and I saw a documentary where there's these ladies who help people carry their baggage, like on their backs and stuff, up hills to help tourists get to where they are going. There's no wheelbarrows, there's no little motorbikes or scooters with sidecars. It's just them and their feet, and off they go.
Oh, yeah.
I must say I am enjoying the simple life. I don't have much stuff. I don't have friends. So I am living a very simple life, incredibly simple, and I love it. There's not too much baggage.
Part of me.
I don't have bloody anything. I have a small 300 square foot apartment. It's all one room. I have no stuff. I don't even have a microwave. Not that I couldn't get one. I just don't really have room for it.
I have this little 2-plate stove with an oven. It looks like a microwave, but it's a stove.
You don't even have like a toaster oven?
I don't have a toaster oven. Oh, sorry. I don't have a fridge.
What do you do, honey? Eat fast food?
I live upstairs. My hubby works at the retailer downstairs, so we buy our meat fresh every day.
Oh, yay.
Yes.
I'd love to be able to buy meat, period. That's another story.
I was listening to you guys talking about the meat earlier on, and I can buy a bag of meaty bones for like $30, which is about $2 in your money. And that feeds my whole family. I can make a stew or a casserole or whatever, and just add some vegetables and feed my whole family. Which is like, I'm a cheapskate. You have no idea.
That bag of bones that you bought would probably cost me $5 a pound.
Yeah, that surprises me that you guys' cost of living is so bloody high.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I every week I tell Isaiah, man, I need to buy a pig because the price of pork has gone through
Well,
the roof.
You also have to balance, when you're converting the money in that, you have to think about the cost of living versus what's the average wage.
I don't know what the average wage, but the minimum wage is 20 rand an hour. So $1.25 or something like that an hour. So that's the minimum wage. And we are talking, it's about 20 rand a liter of milk. It's about just under 21 rand a liter of petrol. And we are talking about $1 in your money, a loaf of bread. So I always tell myself it's almost like the devil I know than the devil I don't know.
Okay, so
I'd rather just stay in this country because.
So you have to work an hour to buy a loaf of bread.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Here, I think you
it's
work
bad.
about 30. I think you work about 30 minutes to buy a loaf of bread.
Okay.
And
Where
you're
I,
federal minimum wage anyway.
where I live, you have to make at least $110,000 a year.
Oh yeah. I know of people
Really?
in San Francisco who are making maybe close to $750,000 a year who cannot afford to live on their own.
Oh yeah,
If I
we always joke about how my neighbor, we're like, oh, we feel fancy because one of our local newscasters, who's on not a big station, but it's a local station. It's called KTLA 5. It's it's been around since the 50s. They live in our neighborhood.
Well,
and we feel fancy because there's someone who's on TV every day that lives in our neighborhood.
Nationwide in the U.S., if you're making $2,000 a month, that's still below the poverty line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
really, my hubby
Yes.
earns the equivalent of $500 a month. He earns 7,500 rand a month in my money. So it's 15 to the dollar, which means he's earning only $500 a month.
That wouldn't even
Oh no, you there's no way you could make it on that here.
yeah, not
most
in America.
cities in the U.S., you can't even get a one-bedroom apartment for under $1,000 a month.
Okay, to be fair, we don't pay rent because we live on the property where he works. We don't pay water and lights and things like that. So if you add that to the salary, then he's earning about 12 grand a month in my money. So
I
about
would have to gain almost twice as much as I get now a month on my retirement income to make it to poverty level.
That's why
wow.
what you were saying earlier about people leaving California, I think the numbers are even higher. Like they're calling it the Great Exodus.
Yes, I
Because-
saw something like that.
But the problem is that where I live, it's a transitional area, so we don't notice it as much because for as many people that are leaving, just as many young people are moving here. So our population, although it's taken a dip, is not as much as people think it is because people are moving here because they want to be famous or they want to live with their sunshine, or it's always some dumb excuse.
Well, I'm in the same situation with Jenny that, I only get about $1,000 a month. So if it wasn't for my disability making me eligible for a housing subsidy, there's no way I could survive this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I
you
have a hell of a
guys.
problem. I have a hell of
So-
a problem, and I'm going to be getting $1,200 a month starting in January. But of course, I have
Damn.
medical bills to worry about.
My hubby is grossly underpaid, and we know that. He just,
See, that
this
makes
is
that
just
is
what
so
we have.
insane. That is so insane that if they have somebody such as Diana who's on disability that they recognize is not capable of working, so we're going to put them on disability and give them a basic income or PERP, but we're going to make them pay medical bills. Well, now,
Yeah, that's
what
bullshit.
sense does that make?
None at
In
all.
what world is
None
that
at all.
sensible?
Capitalism.
No, the most
Yeah,
vulnerable
yeah.
just needs to be taken care of, and all the rest of us must just carry the
Well, no,
rest of the weight.
The reason they do it is because the conservative branch of the government and the people and the citizenship look at anything somebody gets for from the government, whether it's disability or if it's just basic poverty assistance or something, even if it's only temporary and you have to pay it back. They scream and yell that this person is lazy and they're not working and they're good for nothing and they don't deserve anything because they have not been raised with a sense of compassion.
They tell me
but
to work to close the gap, and how the hell do I do that when I literally spend half of my time in a recliner bleeding into a machine?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the people who make the fucking decisions, they are getting 6-figure salaries. They don't care.
I've had
as
people,
long as
I've
they
had
get
people,
their 6-figure salaries, who cares about the fucking person who's bleeding into a
That
is
quite
I've had people tell me that I shouldn't complain because I'm on Medicare, which is conceptually maybe a good idea. Everybody's screaming Medicare for all, Medicare for all. Be careful what you wish for, folks. Medicare is nothing more than an insurance company that is owned by the government instead of a private company. You still have to pay 20% of the bill.
There you go. It's a 20%.
You still have to meet an annual deductible. You still have to pay co-pays. It is nothing great. And for someone on my income level, I'm stacking up this bill every week of another couple of $100 that I'll never be able to pay. And I know I won't be able to pay it, but I'm still stacking it up because if I don't, I'll die.
Do you know what's really funny?
This is the whole damn thing, and this is what I tell people, and they don't want to hear it. They tell me, but
they just don't want to see the flaws in their plan. Their plan is full of flaws, and they don't want to see it. They just think they have this brilliant idea that's gonna help everybody, but when you look at the end results, nobody is being helped. They are trying to. My government is trying to bring the NHI into action, and if you are working, they're going to deduct that money from your salary whether you like it or not.
Something I forgot to mention is you pay $150 a month minimum for Medicare.
It's
holy shit!
It's going up to 170 next year.
You guys scare me, hey. America scares me. I think I'd just rather stay in my country. As I said, the devil I know.
So we have a saying here in Los Angeles. It's funny and not funny. Like if we're outside and we see two people about to get crazy or someone like running around and jumping off of things, I've heard more than one person say, "Man, that guy must have really good insurance." Because nobody has insurance, Nobody.
Sorry.
People don't want to hear it, but as far as that goes, the way things are, and even with whatever insurance there is and everything, that being a kidney patient, I'm stacking up bill after bill after bill, and then of course people are coming after me with "we want our money," and it's getting to the point where it is much better to die than to live like this.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
The problem is that we don't we look at people like they're numbers in this country, and that's the shitty thing about capitalism. And so someone's getting paid to harass Diana.
I'm so sorry about that. My friend in Australia is also having many medical issues. She can't even find a doctor. The doctor she had screwed her over, and she doesn't even have the finances to sue him. And now she's spending all the time trying to find a different doctor. But because of the situation we are in, doctors aren't taking new patients. And she's stuck with all these medical issues with no help. And I thought, Australia was quite advanced. And I've been proven so wrong, guys. I'm so sorry.
Well, Australia, the UK, and the US are more or less in the same bucket.
I was about to say, I thought the same thing about the NHS until I won't say her name, but I know somebody who's an extra actress for the BBC. She's a friend of my parents, and she constantly posts on Facebook her troubles with the NHS. She had a problem one day and she sat in the waiting room for 8 hours.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling.
I've
Oh,
done that.
God.
That's America style. I was like, man, I thought you guys were better than us. Like, that's what happens here, you know?
I
mean,
did
the last
once
time-
somewhere to complain about this. I took my son to the hospital. He has epilepsy, and it was his appointment. And the neurology is firstly on the 12th floor. I thought, your brain needs like more oxygen, and this place was so crowded. And the waiting time just to get to see the doctor was 4 hours.
That's crazy.
4 hours in neurology. I was quite shocked. The brain should be like a priority in the medical care industry.
Well, not this last time, but the time before when I had this catheter changed out, because this is my 4th and 6th months. It's great. They never work right. But the nephrologist, the kidney doctor, basically said, look, we're not getting any use out of the dialysis machine this way. You need a new one. Go to the emergency room and tell them you need to be seen. So I sat there for 7.5 hours, and I watched people in the sitting in the emergency room waiting room order out for pizza because they were there that long and they needed to eat. Yeah.
Wow.
I was in an emergency room once where the guy had lost his thumb, obviously in a working accident. And he was, it looked like the people at work bandaged up his thumb. And he was just sitting in the emergency room. I was moved before him, which I went there after him, and I was moved before him. He was just bleeding away. I don't understand why in the emergency room must your waiting time be 4 hours?
Whatever happened to triage that they moved? How much more of an emergency was your situation than his?
So in Los Angeles.
Oh, I had a pain in my chest. So they didn't know whether it was a heart problem or what, so they moved me quick so they can put all the machines and stuff.
That's probably the reason then. And I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain about that.
Yeah, but I would say the guy bleeding, loss of blood is not the easiest thing to handle. So, yeah.
I've seen
guys,
I've seen
before I carry on, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go because it is 10 o'clock at night.
Oh.
So, and just to say, I have been drinking. So if you can hear my voice, a little bit too happy.
You sound great, Sal. You sound great.
Thank you. God bless. Guys, have a great evening. Purple, thank you so much for having me. Everybody else, love you guys.
anytime.
Have a great night.
Bye, Sal.
Be good.
It's
Huh?
fun hanging with you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I would just like to take a moment and mention that now we're out in front of the International Owl Center. And it is legitimately international. They have an owl conference once a year, and people from all over the world come to it.
Ooh.
And
Krabby Hermit was
showing off
asking
my
what that
little
was.
small town here.
Do you know, I didn't even look up. I thought Krabby Hermit misheard something we were talking about. I didn't even look up. That's awesome. We have owls here. All kinds of owls. I don't know if they're international.
Well, actually, we do have some snowy owls that does come down from Canada.
Do you know, still to this day, whenever I see an owl fly over my head, I am shocked on how huge they are.
Oh, they come in all sizes. Some of them aren't much bigger than a mouse.
Oh, Lulu recently got put down. My ex-wife recently put down a dog that she purchased when we first got together. And It was a 17-pound min pin. And if hell exists, min pins are from there. But anyways, I was walking her around on the ranch at night, and there was an owl doing circles around us because it wanted to eat the dog.
Oh no!
Oh,
there's-
fucker!
I didn't even notice because I looked up and I'm like, that's a giant white owl. Like it was a giant owl.
Unfortunately,
I'd hate to see
again,
the owl pellet after it ate a dog.
where I was in Michigan, the owls were a real threat to people letting cats and small dogs out.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know that was real. But oh yeah, they don't mess around.
That's fair. That's fair in a rural zone. I mean, you know, you're going to toss a pet out into the nature, which is what rural is all about, and it's part of nature. And if it gets et, it gets et.
Okay, people, I'm going to have to wrap it up here just because this is about as much energy as I get in one day.
All right, can I just finish my blurb?
No.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Go ahead. The Owl Center is a good thing to go out on.
The reason I've been driving around town and showing you different things, I'm trying to encourage people to come to this part of Wisconsin, Minnesota to vacation. Now, this little small town here is only 900 people, and it's got a few things that are very, very interesting to spend a day or 2 days around town and check out. But there are dozens of these small towns around here, all of which have really interesting things to look at that are within easy, 5-10 mile driving distance. Come to the driftless zone of Wisconsin and Minnesota and vacation. It is spectacular. There is nowhere on the planet like this geologically.
Brought to you by the Wisconsin Board of Tourism.
And today's show was sponsored by the Wisconsin Board of Tourism.
It's perfect. No, I don't know what I just said. I never do.
That is a scary thing too about owls.
So, who's got any last words, anything they want to plug?
Well, Godless Sewing has a video coming out soon. Godless Sewing. I'm working on a video right now. I will be ranting about fashion. Come one, come all, come on down. Godless Sewing.
That sounds like fun.
Okay.
Oh my!
Will, I found this new dress that I just have got to have. I don't know where to send things to you anymore.
It's on Twitter. We're on Twitter. I'm not. I haven't blocked you or anything.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. If your DMs are open, I'll send it to you. It's just gorgeous. Yeah. It's made up of monarch wings, not real ones, gigantic fake ones. But it's just beautiful.
I saw you post that one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, yeah, the Tuesday and Sunday shows are finished for the year, so Kate's going to have some time off. I, on the other hand, I think I'm going to do a New Year's Day show, maybe a New Year's Eve show, I don't know, but maybe New Year's Day I will just sit at my table, work on my laptop, and just talk to people and have people on, and we can have some fun if nobody minds, if everybody's got some time, because I have New Year's Day off from dialysis. New Year's Day is on a Saturday this year.
Sorry, I was gonna ask. Sorry.
Yeah, and then Sunday, that's going to be my Sunday show is going to be at 3 p.m. again, 3 p.m. Eastern, because I'm going to be doing dialysis at 6:30 a.m. on Sunday, because we don't have Saturday, and so we'll do the late Sunday. And I'd like to see if I couldn't start having some new people on, and we can interview and talk and stuff like that. I have to figure out what I want to do yet and see who wants to put up with us, and we'll see what happens. Look for stuff in the new year, and hopefully I can manage to pull through on it. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Amazing.
What I forgot to mention one thing. if you're going to be around this area on New Year's Eve, from 4 to 7 p.m., the Looney Valley Lutheran Church is having a pancake supper from 4 to 7 p.m. Come on down, have some pancakes.
Hey, that sounds pretty good. Is that like St. Alfonso's pancake breakfast?
Yep.
Where you stole the margarine?
Where I stole the margarine, yes.
Yeah. It is the odd and it is the foo. Yeah. They're so light and fluffy white. We'll make a fortune by tonight. Anyway.
Okay. Well, I'll be back here, tomorrow night at 10. I'll probably be on the shills Saturday at 6. So with that, I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters. X of the Utah Outcast, Vonrick, Jyuni, the fabulous DOG, Greg Hartwick, Lavender Lady, Robert
Who the hell
X,
is that?
Ox, and my channel artist, Jyuni the Apostate.
Yay! Who did a brilliant job on today's thumbnail. I'll tell you, that was beautiful. I love the...
Well, she did that as a joke. She sent that to me like 6 hours before the Christmas marathon started, saying that was as far as she'd gotten yet. So, but everybody go shill Jyuni. She has just managed to make her 100 subscribers, but we all know how YouTube is about randomly taking away 3 or 5 for no apparent reason.
Yeah,
so
I
let's
just
try to
lost
get her
one.
a little bit extra to make sure she stays at that level.
Yeah, I just lost one, so I'm at $5.99 now instead of at $600.
I think a lot of people subscribed for the marathon and then unsubbed because the same thing happened to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, with the marathon, we get a lot of cross-pollination, so hopefully everybody picks up a few subs from that.
Yeah, I got a bunch of new subs for the marathon, and that was nice.
Oh,
I got about 10.
Speaking of subs, we're trying to push Brainbug's channel over 600 by the end of the year.
It is over 600.
They got over 6? Okay. They were 8 away last I saw.
Let me check, but I think it happened during the show.
Yeah. I saw somebody post on Twitter that he was at 600.
Cool.
Okay, so with that, I will bid you all a good day so I can go and lie down again. Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care.